Welcome to Calculating ROI for Training with Charlotte Webb. Return on investment refers to comparing the training's monetary benefits with the cost of the training. ROI calculations include two components, the utility and the training cost. Utility is basically the benefit of the training program. To calculate ROI, you divide utility by the total training cost. Utility in the dictionary is defined as something useful or a useful thing. In economics, it's the capacity of a commodity or a service to satisfy some human want. For purposes of our ROI calculation, we're going to refer to a human resources perspective. The definition I'm using is from Carlos Callejo's slides, which is a method to forecast the net financial benefits that result from human resources programs, such as training and development. Variables in utility is the number of years that the training program will benefit the organization, the number of trainees, difference in job performance, standard deviation of job performance, which you might want your statistician to calculate, and cost of training per employee. These factors translate into certain letter variables for the purposes of our calculation. Here is the utility formula. It looks a little complicated, but if you use Excel, you can just drop those numbers into a formula. The difference in job performance, the standard deviation of the job performance, and the number of years that the training will be good for can be derived from valid literature, pilot programs, observation, and estimates. Training costs include resources required, costs associated with the program, one-time costs, and cost per trainee. Resources required include equipment, facilities, personnel, and materials, while costs associated with the training program include program development, or if you purchase the program, materials that you may need, equipment, hardware, facilities, travel and lodging, salaries, and don't forget your opportunity costs in lost productivity. One-time costs include your needs assessment that you should have done, program development. Cost per trainee includes meals, materials, lost productivity, and replacement costs. So as you can see, some of these overlap. Make sure you only use that number once in calculating your total training costs. So let's put this into practice. Let's come up with our training costs. In this fictitious example, I've come up with 8 different training costs, though most likely there will be a lot more than that. So here's some random numbers that I came up that equal up to 500. So that's your total training cost. And now you want to figure out what your training cost per employee is for your utility calculation. So we've got $500 training costs and we have 10 employees. So 500 divided by 10 equals $50 per employee. Take note of that number. Now in the utility, you see that last number there on the bottom, cost equals $50 employee. That's the number that we just came up with. Now let's put these numbers into our utility formula. Looks a little complex, but you can see how it all comes together. Finally, our utility equals 4,500. Now that we have our utility and our training cost, we can come up with our ROI. So we have utility 4,500 and total training cost of $500. Remember that $50 we came up with per employee, and we have 10 employees, so we need total training cost. Now you take those numbers and put them into the ROI calculation of utility over training cost, and you come up with 9%. Not bad for an ROI. Congratulations, you just calculated your first training program's ROI.